The room was deathly silent except for the rasping breaths of a dying woman. Her broken body lay crumpled on the floor, her face turned toward the doorway, her eyes staring blankly into the void as if pleading for mercy from an unseen force. Blood pooled beneath her, staining the cracked wooden floorboards a deep, ominous red. Her husband, Nnamdi, stood frozen in the corner, his fist still trembling with the rage that had driven him to this moment. His chest heaved, and his mind raced, but no amount of air could quench the suffocating weight of realization pressing down on him. He had killed her. Nnamdi sank to his knees, his hands covering his face as guilt clamped around his heart like iron chains. Yet, in the depths of his despair, he couldn't escape the echoes of his past, the rhythmic thud of fist on flesh, his mother's muffled sobs behind closed doors, and his father's cold, unrepentant voice barking orders as though nothing had happened. This was not who he wanted to be. But this was who he had become. Nnamdi was born into a world of shadows. His earliest memories were tinged with fear and confusion, hiding behind the tattered curtains of their one-room house in the heart of a rural Nigerian village. His father, Obiora, was a fisherman by trade and a tyrant by temperament. He ruled the household with an iron fist, his temper as unpredictable as the tides. Nnamdi often watched his mother, Adama, shuffle about the house with bruises she couldn't explain and a sadness she couldn't hide. She was a quiet woman, her voice drowned by years of submission. But to Nnamdi, she was the pillar of his small world, a world that trembled every time his father's heavy footsteps echoed through the door. One night, Nnamdi's world shattered. He was 6 years old, barely old enough to understand the depth of human cruelty, yet old enough to feel the cold sting of helplessness. He woke to the sound of shouting, his father's voice booming like thunder. He crept to the doorway, peeking through the gap, and saw his mother on her knees, shielding her face as Obiora's fist rained down on her. Nnamdi wanted to scream, to run to his mother's aid, but fear rooted him in place. He could only watch, tears streaming down his face, as the woman who gave him life was reduced to a figure of pain and despair. Men must be strong, his father often said, his voice laced with bitterness. Women need discipline. That's the way of the world. Those words became etched into Nnamdi's young mind, though they never sat right with him. He loved his mother fiercely, but as he grew older, the lines between love and control blurred, twisted by the